What is most or misunderstood about Jesus' view of grace? That was the final and last question.
Pardon me?
That was the final and last question, I'm sure.
Can we go to another question? Let me tell. I would love to answer this question, but there are a few of you in this room, you wouldn't like it to be answered because it's not the answer that we as humans look for. If the question is, what is misunderstood about Jesus' view of grace? Everything. That's the answer. It's everything. But now I could enumerate it and take from now until the millennium to kind of let people understand. And I'll tell you why this is important, but I'm not going to answer the question, but I'm just going to tell you why it's important. And it's because the word grace is, we treat the word grace the same way that we treat a child. In that, grace is this innumerable quantity. It's indefinable in nature. It's something that we, for the most part, there are so many different opinions about grace that we can believe about grace what we want to. Same thing is true with a child. When a child is growing up, when they're very, very young, we give them a personality. We say that they're cute. We love it when they say things like, no, no, no. And they go, oh, isn't that funny? That's really funny. You ought to wait till they're 17 and they say it. See, if they say no when they're 2, let me help you. By the time they're 17, they may, you might be on the news for another reason. And so what's misunderstood about Jesus' view of grace? Grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. And I'll only say this part about it. And I said that once before already. But I guess I'll do this. Is that grace did not change God's view of sin. It didn't change God's view of anything that was found in any of the commandments, in any of the way that we treat one another. Didn't change God's view of that at all. All grace ever did was that instead of you being guilty, it unlocked the prison door and said, not guilty. But it didn't change the way God viewed it. God still views sin as sin. And although you have been forgiven for the sins of the past, so no, I'm forgiven forever, then why do you have to confess them out? So there's many, many things about grace that we don't kind of understand, and a lot of times what we don't get is that we actually have access by faith in the promises of God into the grace of God. So what is misunderstood about Jesus' view of grace? Many things, but if you're hungry and if you're thirsty for God, God will show you what all those things are. And there are many, many scriptures that could actually go along with that, but let's go on.